In this video, we're going to interpret data from a line graph. U.S. Climate Data reports the average high temperatures by month in Tempe, Arizona, as shown in the line graph below. So this is a line graph. Notice that we're given specific values. So the values I found for this chart were for the average high temperature of January, February, March. So that's what the dots represent. Okay. Now we draw lines between them, and this doesn't mean halfway between January and February the temperature will be this exact value. Okay, we don't know, but when we connect these dots with lines, it can kind of give us a trend. So if you've been on this planet for a while, you know in January in the winter, it's cold. Well, 69 isn't cold except in Arizona. And then the temperature increases to the summertime where it's hot. Okay. And then we go from summer to winter again, and the temperature decreases. So it's a good way for us to visualize these patterns. Notice that the horizontal axis is month, and we have our months listed here. And they're put in this order, so even though they're not numbers, they occur this way in time. Okay, January, February, March. We actually could have started with any one of these. It might have been nice to start with these values lower. It would have been a different shape, but this is kind of going through a year from beginning to end, how we measure it. Okay. Notice the vertical axis now represents a different variable, degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, whereas before we always had a percent or a frequency. Okay, so let's read the questions. What is the average high temperature in Tempe, Arizona in April? So I will go to April. I go to the corresponding point, which is right here. And again, these are labeled because due to the scaling, we can't see them very, what it would be exactly. So now we know it's exactly 86 degrees, and we should put 86 degrees Fahrenheit as opposed to Celsius. Let's look at the next one. Which month has the greatest average high temperature? Okay, so we want to look at this chart, and since this is degrees Fahrenheit, the greatest value is at 105, and we see that this corresponds to July. So the month that has the greatest average high temperature is July. Next, we're asked which month has the lowest average high temperature. Okay, so we're going to go back to the chart. Lowest average high temperature. So remember, these are average high temperatures. Now we're finding the lowest of the averages. Okay. Notice here 69 is pretty low. Here we have even a lower value in December. So I'm going to highlight this point and note that it corresponds to December, and that's the lowest value in the chart. So I know it's correct. So that will be December. Next, we're asked which month or months have an average high temperature of 78 degrees. So now we need to look at the temperature values. I'm going to go through all of them. Since it had an S in parentheses, there may be more than one. Here's 78 degrees, and there's another one here that's 78 degrees. So now we need to find the corresponding months, and this is November, and this is March. So our answers will be March and November. Now the next question, we're asked, what is the largest temperature decrease between two consecutive months? Okay, so first, if it's decreasing between two consecutive months, from left to right, it's going to go downwards. So here, from January to July, all of these temperatures are increasing. And then as we go from July to December, all of these are decreasing. Now, we could look at these and try to find the steepest line. Okay, because the more it decreases, so notice here it only changes by 2 degrees, and the line doesn't go down very much. Okay, and here it starts to go down more. We'll want to double check by finding these actual differences. Okay, so you may have a good guess, I do, but I'm going to look at these and just write the differences between the consecutive months. So this went down 2, 103 to 100 goes down 3. From here to here, we go down 11. 89 to 78, we go down by 11. And from 78 to 68, we go down by 10. So notice if we went from 68 to 69, if we wrapped around, we'd be going up a degree. So we don't have to be concerned about that. Okay, so the largest temperature decrease, it actually occurred in 2 months. They didn't ask us about that though, would be negative 11 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's look at the next question. What is the smallest temperature increase between 2 consecutive months? Okay, so we observe that they're increasing here. Okay, pretty sure this is the smallest temperature increase from 103 to 105. Okay, but it'll only take us a second to write them. Let's write them in blue. Here we go up 4 degrees. 73 to 78 is up 5. Here we go up 8. 86 to 95, we go up 9. 95 to 103 is up by 8. And 103 to 105 is up by 2. Okay, so the smallest temperature increase was in fact 2 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm putting a +2 because it said increase, and that's nice. Okay. Now we have the question, do the data appear to be correlated, and explain? Okay. So data are correlated if you can see obvious patterns of increase or decrease. Okay. Now this entire graph isn't increasing or decreasing. We said it's increasing here and it's decreasing here. So we usually talk about here the data are positively correlated, meaning as time increases, the average high temperature increases. Here, the data are negatively correlated. As time increases here, the average high temperatures decrease. Okay, so I will say that they are correlated. Okay, if we had something, I'm going to erase this in a second, that, well, you can't even see that. If we had some values like this, well, they're not correlated. It doesn't seem like there's any pattern as we go up and down in time. Okay, so they are correlated. Usually we specifically talk about positive or negative correlation, but it's definitely possible to have 2 different types of correlation. So we'll just say yes, they are correlated. And we'll say the temp increases, and I could be more specific, the average high temperature in Tempe increases from January to July. And I need more room. Sorry, I'll go over here. And decreases from July to December.